If you're watching this video, just know, your mental health matters, your life matters, and of course, you matter. I, BC King, care about you. Welcome back to Gaming Hot Takes, a series where I read your hottest takes about various video games. In today's video, I'll bring your hottest takes about Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. As always, hot takes can be positive things, negative things, praises, criticisms, or anything in between. And as you guys know, I wasn't a huge fan of Johto back in the day. I am now, so I'm very curious to see what people like or didn't like about Gen 2. So with that said, let us get right into your hot takes. Wait a minute, hold on. Before we start, I gotta give a very special shout out to my sponsor for this video, Fluffle. If you adore anime plushies, graduation plushies, and more, then this website is for you. Use the code BCKing15 to save 15% on your first purchase. And use the link that is in the description. And come on, who wouldn't want one of these things? These things are amazing. Go get yourself a plushie because they're amazing. With that said, now let's get into the video. Going back to Kanto was unnecessary. We could have just had strong gym leaders, a stronger Elite Four, and then fought Red, and that would have been fine. Dang, starting off with a hot one. Going back to Kanto was unnecessary? A lot of people love Gen 2 for that reason. Going back to Kanto and exploring how it looks in Gen 2, but yeah, I personally was fine with it. I can see some people maybe thinking that the game drags on because of the addition of Kanto. I never felt that way personally. We'll get into probably more hot takes that touch more on Kanto overall and, you know, Johto and Kanto being in the same game. But, for me, I was fine with it, you know, it was fun going back and seeing, you know, my childhood, going back to Kanto, fighting the gym leaders, fighting Red, and seeing all the Kanto Pokemon, seeing how each city was like, you know, how it changed since, you know, Gen 1. So, yeah, I was fine with it. I wouldn't say it was unnecessary. Again, I feel like it was a big accomplishment even getting 2 regions in one game, because, if you guys don't know, Satoru Iwata, who is long gone now, he was the mastermind behind putting Kanto and Johto all on one cartridge, and it was a pretty massive achievement. So, yeah, I enjoyed going back to Kanto. I can see why people maybe wouldn't, because it does, you know, maybe drag the game on too much for them. But, yeah, for me, I was fine going back to Kanto. Crystal is the worst of the third iterations of games. It added very little and propped up a legendary Pokemon from a trio that should have all shared the spotlight. Yellow, Emerald, and Platinum are leagues above Crystal. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I love Crystal still, but if I was to rank every single third version game, like Yellow, Emerald, Platinum, and Crystal, gonna be honest, I might actually put Crystal as my worst. Might be a hot take. Yellow's like close to there too. I feel like my top 2 are definitely Emerald and Platinum. But between Yellow and Crystal, which one I had more fun with? I love Crystal, but Yellow, man, getting those Pokemon to, or having Pokemon follow you like Pikachu, and I don't know. I think I have to replay Yellow and Crystal again to really decide that, or, you know, make a full decision on that. But right now, I think I might agree with you. I think Crystal might be my least favorite of the third version games. Added very little, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't say it added very little. Maybe it didn't add like too much. And regarding Suicune being propped up, I thought it was fine. I mean, it would have been nice to get like Suicune, Entei, and Raikou all, you know, get the spotlight. But I thought it was cool to, like, you know, pick out the coolest one of the trio, being Suicune in my opinion, and giving them more spotlight. I thought that was cool. So I'm not against that. But as far as your first take here, again, I gotta replay Yellow and Crystal to like really know if I feel this way. But as I feel right now, I think Crystal might also be my least favorite of the third version games. The fact that it's so easy to get lost if you skip dialogue, or just have no idea what to do half the time. Also, Lance being the champion is freaking lazy AF. Same goes for most of the Elite Four of Kanto. They're a part of Johto too. Why? So a couple things here. Your first take here, I think that might actually be why I bounced off of Gen 2 when I was a kid. I think I was actually getting a little bit lost in the region. Obviously, Heart Gold, Soul Silver probably fixed those issues, but, yeah, I feel like back in the day, here's the thing, Gen 1 and 2, I'm kind of, you know, they're not my favorites because they are probably the most annoying to navigate with, like, you know, how small the screen is, and just, you know, the size of the world and how it's structured, and fitting it onto that handheld was just, it's not as fun to play nowadays as it was back in the day, because, like, you know, getting around the region can be kind of confusing. And I do feel like that was why I was not a fan of Gen 2 originally back in the day. Gen 1 was fine too, but yeah, Gen 1 and 2 I probably bounced off of a little bit because of that reason. And then your take here about mostly Elite Four from Kanto being, or of the Johto League being from Kanto, like Lance and Koga and Bruno. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It would be nice to have like all new Elite Fours, but I mean, I feel like Gen 2 relied a lot on nostalgia. Not that it's a bad thing, but I think because Kanto was so beloved, I feel like Gen 2 wanted to kind of pay homage to that and bring back people from Kanto, like the Elite Four, and making Lance the champion now. I was fine with it, but I do agree I would prefer to, like a whole new Elite Four versus just having people brought back. But it was still a good Elite Four. It's not the best Elite Four of all time, but you know, it was cool seeing Koga and Bruno again, seeing Lance get promoted to champion, and having that epic theme while you're fighting his amazing Dragon-type team. That was fun, but yeah, I agree. I would have probably preferred a all-new Elite Four and maybe even an all-new champion. Though I do like Lance. Lance is a fantastic champion, but yeah, I mean, it's always going to be better or more fun to have a new champion versus a returning champion or a character propped up to the champion spot. But Lance is still cool. I love Lance as champion. I think most people hate roaming legendaries, so my hot take would be that I love them. The moment of the music being different on a random patch of grass and seeing a level 40 beast out of nowhere is awesome. So I'm going to fully disagree there. Anybody who knows me knows that I've always hated roaming legendaries in Pokemon games. I've never enjoyed finding them. Even if the Pokemon itself is cool looking, like Cresselia, Suicune, the Lake Guardians, like, I always hated how that was played out, like, how they structured that, because, number one, when you first encounter them, they flee right away if you don't, like, use Mean Look on them or something, so it's always annoying to have to go into the battle, see them run away, and then chase them all over the region again. And then the other thing is, when you enter the area that they're in, like, if you're looking on the map and you see where they're at, and then you enter that area, they just move away. You have to, like, enter that area as they're coming in, or also just go to another area. It was just always so annoying, never really enjoyable for me. So I get that you love them, good for you, but for me, that is something that I hope they never bring back in any Pokemon game, unless they make it actually fun and make it like not a slog or make it like annoying as hell. Then maybe I'll be okay with them bringing that back. But them doing what they did in Gen 1 through 4, yeah, I'm okay never seeing that again, because I never enjoyed it. It was one of the most painful things to do in the first 4 generations. It was just, it was not fun. I get they were trying to, like, make you, you know, maybe they had an idea of making it fun, but it just didn't really work out for me. So yeah, I'm okay never seeing that ever again. While I love Johto since it was my first region, the layout of the region is lacking compared to others. Most of the cities have only 2 ways in and out of them, and the region feels rather linear. I mean, I feel like most cities in Pokemon have like 1 to 2 entrances and exits, so I don't know if that's really that bad of a thing. Like, I'm thinking of, like, Gen 5, for example. Like, I feel like a lot of those cities also had, like, 1 or 2 exits, and I think that's just normal for cities, like, having a way in and a way out. So I guess that's fine. The region layout, I mean, it is pretty similar to Kanto in terms of, like, its overall layout and structure, but, I mean, it is different enough to, like, feel fun to go through. I will say Johto is not the most exciting region. I feel like other regions after Johto and Kanto have had more unique things about them. So yeah, but Johto is still a fun region. It's just, I would probably agree that it's not the most interesting region to explore. And it feeling linear, I mean, that's the case for, I feel like, a lot of Pokemon games, because you're following a set path, right? You're going to every gym, beating the Elite Four, beating the champion, so it's not like Scarlet and Violet where you can go anywhere you want, pretty much, you know. Back then, it was a linear path you had to follow for the mainline Pokemon games. So, that's just how it was. But, yeah, the region being kind of lacking. I wouldn't say it's lacking, but, I would say it's probably one of the lesser unique and fun regions to explore in Pokemon. The amount of new things Gen 2 added has never been topped by another generation. Breeding, animation, hold items, special capabilities, day and night cycle, mom saving money for you, the phone, radio, the ability to create your own Pokeballs, new types, shinies, access to the previous generation, roaming legendaries, and I'm pretty sure I forgot a lot of things. You're not wrong, Gen 2 was a massive step up from Gen 1 in terms of what you could do in the game. Like, as you mentioned, there was a lot that they added that is now kind of that they're kind of staples now of mainline Pokemon games, like breeding, animations, hold items, the day and night cycle, new types and shinies, so you're not wrong. I feel like every generation has, you know, things it can take credit for as far as adding, like, you know, open world with Scarlet and Violet, Gen 6 having 3D animations for Pokemon, so... But yeah, I would probably say Gen 2, you might be right. Gen 2 might be the generation that had the most new things you could do. And yeah, from Kanto, that was, again, a massive step up. I feel like Kanto had enough to, like, make it stand out, but then you get to Johto and it's like, oh, there's all these new things you can do. There's all these new features that are now, you know, being carried to other Pokemon games and are still being carried over to other Pokemon games. So, yeah, I feel like Gen 5 can also be in the conversation, not because I love Gen 5. I feel like Gen 5 did have a lot of cool things that they added as well. But, yeah, I'd probably agree. Gen 2 probably has the most new things out of any Pokemon game. I have to probably research that just to be sure, but, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you're right here. Stop! Now she'll die a virgin! Stop! Stop it! Okay. Stop. Okay.
Stay the fuck in the fucking car!
Oh, fuck! That was a sneak peek of all the content that you might be missing out on by not becoming a YouTube member. When you're a YouTube member, you get so much bonus content such as all my anime watch-throughs, classic content like old Twitch streams, movie watch-alongs, and more. So what are you waiting for? Hit the join button down below, pick the tier you want, and enjoy all the benefits that come with your YouTube membership. If you're already a member, thank you for your support, enjoy your benefits, and now let's get back into the video. Best sprite work among the 2D Pokemon games. I'll do you one better. I just feel like the pixel art, now that I'm thinking about it, is just so much more expressive versus what we have now with the 3D models. They don't look bad, but I just, now that I'm thinking about it, I really do miss when, like, I don't know, I feel like the sprites just had a lot more charm to them. And I will say, I disagree about it being the best sprite work. I feel like Gen 5 will always be my favorite, because it's not only pixelated, but it's also fully animated the entire time. Versus just having, like, the first 4 generations be, like, you know, when it first comes out of the Pokeball, it's animated, and then it just stays static for the rest of the battle. But, Gen 5 is, like, you know, it's fully animated the entire time. So, yeah, I disagree there, but, I do feel like the best sprite work is from Gens 1 through 5. I feel like Gen 6 was good at the time because it was new. But now that we're 9 gens in and I've seen more of these 3D models and how expressive they are, I kind of do miss the pixel art. That's why I want them to make like a HD 2D like remake of like Gen 5, for example, because I just miss the pixel art, man. It was just such a time to live in, you know? They weren't like fully animated the entire time before Gen 5. They, you know, they don't look as maybe impressive as they would nowadays with the better graphics and better, you know, hardware. But yeah, the pixel art just really... It was a time, man. Like, they just had a lot more charm than the 3D models do nowadays. So, I hope they go back to that for a future mainline game. That'd be great. But, yeah, I think Johto has some great sprite work. I feel like Gens 1 through 3 and 4 also have great sprite work. But, yeah, my favorite personally will always be Gen 5. But, yeah, I miss pixel sprites, man. I hope they bring those back in the future. Having time-based things show up, like Lapras, the bug-catching contest, day and night encounters, is perfectly fine. So it kind of depends for me, actually. I do feel like this is nowhere near as bad as the Roman Legendaries, but, these time-based things can still be kind of annoying because, I think back in the day you couldn't change your game clock to, you know, skip ahead if you wanted to. You could in Heart Gold Soul Silver with the DS, but Game Boy, I don't think you could. So if you missed an event, you had to wait until, you know, the next week to do whatever it is you're trying to do. So that can be kind of annoying, but again, I do feel like this is nowhere near as bad as roaming legendaries. I feel like this is definitely, you know, more forgivable and, you know, not as painful to experience as the roaming legendaries. But again, like, if you miss, like, Lapras on Friday, for example, you have to wait until the next Friday, a whole week, to try to get it again. So, yeah, the bug catching, it's like 3 days a week, I think, so that's fine. Day 9 encounters is fine, but, yeah, I feel like most time-based things in Gen 2 were forgiving and were not annoying, but Lapras, for example, only being, like, once a week was kind of annoying, but, yeah, I prefer this over roaming legendaries any day of the week. The Whitney difficulty spike isn't a mistake. It's meant to encourage team diversity and push you towards a buff daycare, possibly discovering breeding along the way. I've never heard that in my entire life. I have never heard that that's the reason why Whitney is such a fucking pain in the ass to fight. And again, if you guys know, my hot take is that Whitney is a fucking bitch. Like Whitney Miltank rollout is like everyone's nightmare in Gen 2. But, I've never heard this before. Like, is that really the reason why Whitney is so hard? Is because they're trying to encourage you to diversify your team, and it's about the daycare coming up? I've, again, never heard that, but if that's the case, I mean, sure. I mean, it is a normal type gym leader, so if you don't have a fighting type Pokemon, then I mean, you know, you kind of have to diversify your team anyway. So, I guess I can kind of see what you're saying here. Again, I never heard this before. This is my first time actually reading something like this. But, regardless, Whitney is still a pain in the ass to fight. I think a hot take that everyone would probably have is that Whitney is not that hard, but, I disagree. Whitney is one of the hardest gym leaders in all of Pokemon. So, but yeah, this, I'm curious to see what you guys think of this. So, leave a comment down below, about this hot take, because, I never heard this before in my entire life. Never heard it before, so, if you agree, let me know, and I'll, I guess, agree with you too, but, yeah, this is my first time seeing this reason as far as why Whitney is hard. I actually love the simpler and less busy Pokemon design, so Johto has some of my favorite Mons, especially the Mareep line. I also like that all the starters stay a single type. I will say Gen 2 is not my favorite generation in terms of the new Pokemon, because a lot of them are evolutions of Kanto Pokemon. I think Gen 4, once we get to that for a hot take, I'll touch more on that. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of them are good. I mean, I love Lugia, obviously. I love Ho-Oh. Suicune's great. Tyranitar's great. I love Scizor. And then your other take here about all the starters being a single type, I disagree. I like having another type added when you fully evolve it, because it kind of, you know, lets you learn new moves, lets you, you know, maybe do better in battles and have another type to rely on. So, I mean, some final starters are okay with just having one type. Like, I think Feraligatr was fine for me, Typhlosion as well. Meganium sucks ass. But, yeah, I do prefer having, dual typing for final starter evolutions, because it's more interesting. It's, you know, the moveset improves when you have two types. So, yeah, I'm not saying, like, having just one type for it is bad, but I do prefer having two typings to rely on for my final starter. But, yeah, the Johtomons are cool overall. They're good, but it's definitely one of the weaker lists, I feel like, of overall Pokemon designs for that region. I just feel like other generations have, you know, had better and more unique designs for Pokemon, like Gen 8, for example, and Gen 9. So, yeah, but, you know, Johto's fine, but I think, them having, like, all these evolutions for Kanto Pokemon kind of takes it down a bit for me. And Gen 4 is the same way. We'll get to Diamond and Pearl and Platinum in the future, for sure, because that also has, like, Pokemon that, are just evolutions of previous Pokemon. But, yeah, Gen 2 is fine, but there are, you know, other games have had better lists of new Pokemon. I love Lugia so much, but the duality of Lugia and Ho-Oh does not make sense. There is no actual balancing of forces the way every other game has done with their legendaries. Instead of forcing the duality of them two, they should have just explained that they exist but have no connection whatsoever. You know, I never really thought about that. You are right. I feel like other generations have had Pokemon or legendary Pokemon that kind of are, like, exact opposites of each other. Like, you got, Groudon and Kyogre with Gen 3. Like, one is land, one is sea. Reshiram and Zekrom, one is truth, one is ideals. Gen 6, one is life, one is death. So, yeah, honestly, I mean, I love both of them. I love Lugia and Ho-Oh, but your hot take here actually kind of makes sense. I feel like they don't really have that much of a connection, because one is from the sea and one is from, I guess you could say the sky, but, like, they don't really, you know, go too much in on their origins. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of do agree here. I do kind of wish that they had a better connection as far as, like, being complete opposites, because I think the lore goes that Ho-Oh burned the tower in Egritique City, right? And then Lugia came from the sea, and they don't even fight, do they? Do they ever fight in, like, any of the lore? I don't think they do. I don't know. That might require some more research, but, yeah, I think I kind of agree here. I do kind of wish that Lugia and Ho-Oh had better connections and were more, like, exact opposites, because, you know, other generations have had, like, legendaries that, you know, are, like, polar opposites, like land, sea, life and death, sun and moon. So, yeah, now that you mention it, I kind of agree. I do kind of wish that these two had a better connection, and, you know, maybe the lore could have explained, you know, more about why they're rivals, if they are rivals, and, you know, what connection they have. Bland. Super bland. The story is super uninteresting, and they should have done a whole lot more with the Rocket plot. They never seemed like a threat, and should have been treated more like a terrorist organization. I'm gonna actually agree here a little bit. I do like Team Rocket. They were cool in Gen 1. I feel like Gen 2, it was cool seeing them back, but I wasn't a huge fan of the admins, like, Archie, or Archer, whatever his name was. And I don't know, I think more could have been done with Team Rocket's return in Gen 2. It was still fine for what it was. It wasn't bad at all, but, you know, I also this is kind of going back to a previous hot take a little bit, but I do kind of wish there was a new team to come in instead of just having Team Rocket again. Again, it does make sense because Gen 2 does connect Johto and Kanto together, so bringing back the evil team from Kanto does make sense, but yeah, I don't think they fully capitalized on its potential, especially because Giovanni isn't even part of the story, right? Like, I think Heart Gold Soul Silver has an event you can unlock, like, through, like, a Wi-Fi event back in the day where you can actually encounter Giovanni, but I do kind of wish he was in the main story. I feel like they could have done a thing where when they take over the radio tower, right, if Giovanni comes in at the end and is like, you know, I'm back finally, I heard your message, I'm gonna help Team Rocket now. I just think having Giovanni absent from the story was probably the biggest detriment to Team Rocket's hit my mic. Team Rocket's return in Gen 2. So I do kind of wish they, you know, did more with that story. It was still fine for what it was, but yeah, I agree. I do feel like the story of Team Rocket could have been done a little bit better. The story overall, though, with, like, your rival and overall, yeah, it is kind of bland. It is kind of a copy of Kanto. Not a whole lot goes on that's, like, really that unique and new. But yeah, it's fine for what it is, and yeah, I agree that the Team Rocket should have probably had more to them this time, and, you know, bring back Giovanni. Like, if your whole thing was to have them send a message to Giovanni, have him come in at the end, like, during the radio tower thing, that would have been great, but they just didn't. So, yeah, for me, I agree. Team Rocket could have been handled a lot better in Gen 2. Alright, folks, that is it for your Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal hot takes. And I'm sure, as always, that some of you watching this have a hot take for a game coming up, so make sure you guys follow the BC King Gaming Hot Takes Reddit page. Link is right here, or in the pinned comments, so go check that out when you can. But in the meantime, make sure you guys subscribe, ring the bell, and smash that like button if you enjoyed today's video. And more to come in the future. I got, like, a whole list of games coming up that I want to do hot takes for, so stay tuned. But I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.